Hello, and today I've got with me Nick Huelin, who is a business coach and mentor. She is an inspirational speaker. She's author of The Invisible Revolution, a book that I've ordered this morning and can't wait to read. She's owner of Mpower for Mums in Business, and of course she's also a mum. Welcome, Nick.
Hi everybody, and thanks Sarah for having me today.
It's a pleasure. So I'm going to jump straight into some questions, if that's okay, and ask you why you set up your business in the first place.
Okay, why did I set up my business in the first place? Well, I'm sure there are a lot of people that my reasons will resonate. It's two parts really. I first went into business 15 years ago. That's when I made the big leap from the corporate world to set up my very first business, which is quite different from what I do today. And my reasons back then, and I'm sure many will relate, is because I wanted to make a difference in the world in my way. And importantly, I wanted to have a business that worked for me, that gave me more of that flexibility and the balance and choices about how I spent my time, who I worked with, when I worked, to make it easier for me to get the best of both worlds, being in business and being a mum. With my partner today, we have 4 children between us. We have his 2 girls, and I've got 1 girl and a boy. And so back then it was my 2 children, Carly and Liam, that were my big why behind that initial leap. And very, very similar to this day, 15 years on, why do I do what I do in Mpower? And Mpower is all about empowering mums in business. And 5 years ago, I just reached that point where I thought, this has been a brilliant journey. I've had to learn a lot the hard way early on, and I could see more and more mums making that transition into working for themselves, pretty much fueled by, this digital revolution and social media. I thought, right, it's time to give back and help them experience some of the amazing benefits that building a successful business can bring when you're a mum, and it gives you that flexibility.
One of the things when I was reading your website and doing some research that really stood out to me was your passion for almost like carving a business, for mums to carve a business out around, what they find enjoyable around the lifestyle. And that really resonated with me, and I know with a lot of my followers as well. So with you personally, what do you enjoy most about having your own business?
What do I enjoy most about everything I do is really about what I love. I am a business geek. I have always loved business. Started out, university age, and I went to uni to study business economics. I specialised in marketing. I was the sort of really sad person. Back then we didn't have Kindles, we had physical books. I'd go on holiday and I'd have this stack of business books, by my sunbed. That's what I loved. And being a trained coach now, which is, coaching is so powerful, combined with mentoring, and I just love connecting with like-minded women. I get to bring all of that under one umbrella and do it every day. And of course, what I love is what being my own boss enables me to do on the side. And, my children are a bit older now, bit scary to say, but in May, they will both be 22 and 16 respectively. So I feel blessed to have had 15 years of that journey of motherhood. I've had that flexibility. I've had the best of both worlds. And there is this myth, I think, that as our children get older, they need us less or they won't need us anymore. I hate to break it to you, it's not true. It's not true. And on a regular, almost daily basis, I would say, because both children still live under this roof, I think, oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness I can be there for them. Thank goodness I can, juggle things around. Thank goodness I can go to that event or be there in a way that's really important for them without having to go and ask for permission or feel bad, beg my boss. I can do it. And that's amazing. And in particular, those who already are connected with me on social media, you've probably bored already of all the posts I put about our horses. It's been a childhood dream, and recently we got 2 horses. My daughter and I, we have 2 Friesians, and I can go riding 5 times a week, and the majority of those times I share with her, and it's just priceless to be able to do something like that and not be working so hard to hope to be able to do that at some point in the future when I retire, but actually doing it and living it now. Horse riding is a very physical thing. I might not be, as my daughter pointed out to me, Mum, you're not getting any younger. What's the point of having a horse when you're 60? You might not be able to ride anymore. Thanks, Carly. So
that is amazing. That's kind of, every mum's dream, really, isn't it, to have that freedom, flexibility, not have to answer to a boss, and spend the time with the children. But can I just say, you don't look old enough to have a age.
Oh, thank you.
No, genuinely, you don't look amazing.
There must be a filter on this recording platform.
What is, Nick, your proudest moment ever? That could be business, it could be not business, but just your best, your top moment.
Oh, there are so many. That's a really, really difficult question. And I guess, typically people might assume I would mention perhaps some of the more public successes that I've had. For example, really proud about last year, Mpower launched the National Business Awards, specifically for mums in business in the first 4 years of trading. And that was something I'd wanted to do for a number of years, and we launched it last year, and it got so much engagement. It was a sellout event. We're just getting started with this year's. That was massive. Becoming a published author. I never thought I was a good writer. I never imagined I would write a book. And that is amazing. And it got listed in the Independent's 10 best business books written by women. So that was awesome. I spent my whole life as a speakerphobe, my whole adult life as a speakerphobe. And last month, after setting a goal 3 years ago of one day wanting to do a TED talk, I did a TEDx talk in Crete last month. And that's now out there. I mean, those are really massive personal things to me, and I had to really push myself outside my comfort zone to achieve them, spurred on by this passion of sharing the message I want to share with mums in business out there. I am on a mission to empower 1 million mums in business, and the one-to-one stuff is not gonna cut it long term. But if I had to pick one thing that was my biggest success, actually it's the really simple things that I've already mentioned on a daily basis. It's like I can live my life and be with my children and experience all of these amazing things and get at what I'm doing in my business every day. It's just that feeling of being blessed on a daily basis. That's my biggest success.
I love that you're on a mission to empower 1 million mums in business. Big, hairy, audacious goal there, but very, very clear. The clarity, I loved the clarity about that on your website, and I love the fact that that's your mission, and you're achieving it. Your TEDx talk was amazing. I've watched that, and I would fully recommend for anyone to watch that. And also there are probably some people, or not probably, there's definitely some people who amongst the members of my VA business, business that I run, who would definitely should be nominated for the Mpower National Business Awards. So that's another thing for people to definitely check out. And I shall be giving a prompt as well to the group that I work with.
Brilliant.
So thanks for that. Now, obviously, that's all the positive stuff, and we all know that running a business is not all all good days. So, what struggles have you faced along the way of setting up your business and running it?
Gosh, where do I start? How long have you got? How long have you got? I'm always finding myself saying this, isn't hindsight a wonderful thing? When you can look back and go, oh, I get it now. I get why that wasn't such a bad thing and how that's helped me grow and become more resilient or learn, and I'd never be where I am today if that hadn't happened. But when you're in the thick of a struggle or a challenge or a period of adversity, it's really hard to remain so philosophical. It's really tough. And I think, I have been on this journey as an entrepreneur for, I keep saying 15 years. I've been saying 15 years for too many years. It's actually longer. And I think the nature of the challenges evolve and change over time. And when I first started out, just left the corporate world, if that relate, if that's any of you who are listening in, you're perhaps thinking about making that transition, or you've just transitioned out the corporate world. For me, it was, this is going to sound really, perhaps bizarre, bit cliche. It was learning to be me and finding my voice, because for so long, in business consultancy, there's a way to behave, there's a lingo, that you've got this business persona, we're under the corporate umbrella, and stepping out into the world as the voice and the face of your brand as yourself, something you feel passionate about, is actually a really difficult thing to do. That was challenging for me, and I was always looking around for, okay, what great messages can I share? And I was looking to other people to share their stuff, not even realizing actually, there's stuff I believe in, there's stuff I want to stand up for, there's messages I want to share, and that took me a long time. Then struggles, we're in the business of life. When you work for yourself, you can't kind of strip business out and put it in a separate little box. It's all interrelated. I often talk about it being one big swimming pool, and yes, you can put swim lanes in that swimming pool, and you can talk or focus about business or money or relationships or self-care, but at the end of the day, it's one big pool. And if you pour good stuff or bad stuff into one swim lane, it permeates. And I'm guessing, like everybody out there, I have had huge periods of adversity in my life, on more than one occasion. And that then is the real test of how you've laid the business foundations, that when the proverbial hits the fan, is it sustainable? Can you keep going, or does it come down like a pack of cards? And in 2010, just to give you an example, that was when my marriage ended. Our family unit, it's never part of the plan to end up as a single parent, and my world and my children's world was shattered into a million pieces. And as a mother, that's excruciating, to watch your children go through a very traumatic and painful time, and you're not in a good place yourself, and there's not a lot that you can't take that pain away. You can't click your fingers and make it better. And I'd lived abroad most of my adult life, and I came back to the UK in 2010 with 2 suitcases, 2 children, returning to my parents' house. I was 37. And it was about rebuilding my life. And it was a really challenging time. And, that is one of the points, again, so blessed to be my own boss and to have laid the foundations in a way that I had. And I was very open with my clients and my community about what I was going through. And actually, that was a period where I got more clients referrals in that period than was typically usual. So it doesn't have to be a negative thing, but yeah, there've been many struggles. What I would add, if I may, is that actually being an entrepreneur and working for yourself is very much about getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And if you are, I guess in the fast-paced, fast-changing world we live in, we always need to be growing and stepping outside our comfort zone. We can't stand still for very long anyway. And so there will always be challenges. I don't want to use the word struggle, but it's getting okay with feeling challenged, and it's getting comfortable with feeling uncomfortable, because that is where the magic is, if you can get okay with that.
Yeah, completely agree. And how important do you consider self-belief to be in terms of achieving in business?
Massive. There's a little quote I wrote, I put out on social media sometimes, and it says, I've said that self-belief is the seed of all possibilities, and unless you've got that seed there, nothing will blossom and come to fruition. And that's where it all starts. And yes, you need the conditions for that seed to blossom. You need the know-how, on the very practical side. You need to be surrounded by the right people. You need to be taking purposeful action. But to me, self-belief is that seed of possibility. It's so important. Self-belief, and perhaps widening that term to mindset. The work that I do is a blend of, as a coach and mentor, yes, we work on imagine that yin and yang symbol. So half of it is about all the external stuff. So yes, marketing strategy and business planning and making sure you feel clear and confident about how to do certain things. But on the other side of that yin yang, it's balanced out with all our internal resources. And mindset is key, really.
Completely, yeah. And I work with a lot of mums as well, and helping them set up their own virtual assistant businesses. And one thing that we see and have done from the start is a lack of confidence, a lack of self-belief in some people, especially if maybe they haven't worked for a while, or if they've worked and the boss has been not treating them probably in the way that they should have been. So we deal with a lot of people where we are kind of picking them up and making them believe in themselves again. And it does make all the world a difference to what they can actually achieve. So I completely resonate with that. Finally, Nick, what is the one piece of advice that you would offer to somebody who is starting their own business?
Oh, another really challenging question. These questions that start with, what's the one thing? As soon as I hear one thing, I'm like, no. I really struggle with that. So I do have a cheat answer to that, where hopefully I can still, just say one thing, but with a caveat. So I guess my one thing would be enjoy the journey. Because that's all we have. And if you are approaching things with that aim in mind, you're much more likely to have a strategy and a business plan that's aligned with your values, because that's the only way that you're going to enjoy it. You're going to be playing to your strengths. You're going to be working with people that light you up. You're going to be making your difference in the world. You'll be using your voice. So I guess that's my sort of catch-all, is to say enjoy the journey, because then chances are you will be going about it in a way that, one, you can enjoy it, and two, your chances of success and sustaining that success are going to be much higher. with a caveat that because there is not just one thing, you know, there's not one piece of advice and there's not one magic bullet that you can offer mums in business. It is multifaceted, and it does vary depending on what stage of the journey people are at, and who they are, and everybody's different, and success looks like different things to different people. So my advice, my one piece of advice would be, I'm going to do an unashamed plug now for my book, because it took me a year to pour my business coaching heart and soul into the pages of a book, because you know, of the thousands of mums in business I've connected, coached and mentored, I could see the pattern of what are the things that all successful mums in business do. And there's 14 pillars of success, and they're all in the book. It took me a year to write. Blood, sweat and tears, and it's out there. So for the price of a latte or two, you can get your hands on all of that advice. So my one piece of advice would be go and buy my book. You know, it's a few quid, you know, it's a cost of a latte. So yes, if I may.
Yeah, no, my copy's on order. I can't wait. So yeah, great advice. Thank you so much. And if people want to hear more about you, Nick, would you like to let them know how they can either visit your website, get in touch, or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. The simplest thing is just to pop on over to the Mpower website, because you can get in contact with me through it. There's the links to our online community. There's information about all that we do, and links to the TEDx talk and the book and all of that. So that's simply mpower.global.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much, and I've thoroughly enjoyed the short amount of time that we've spent together this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Sarah. Brilliant questions. So challenging and thought-provoking. And thanks to everybody who's tuned in to this interview today. I look forward to connecting with you. Thanks again.